welcome back. We are standing in my basement today, and why are we in the basement? Well, actually it's because of this mess you see right here, and specifically what I kind of want to talk about is this unit that you see in the floor, which is a sewage ejector, I guess is kind of what it's called. So it's simplex sewage grinder with a Liberty pump, and it's specifically the 380 series, which is got a capacity of 41 gallons. So why do I have this system in my basement now, and why am I making a video about it? Well, I figured it'd be interesting to make a video about it for anybody that might need something like this. So what happened to us is we put in this bathroom, which is kind of really primitive. If you can see, we've got curtains for everything, just a basic shower and whatnot. But we put this bathroom in here because we have a one bathroom house and we need to redo the upstairs bathroom. So for years, our kitchen sink was draining down this pipe right here, and that was going into the floor. There was a toilet down here, not that toilet, but there was no plumbing hooked up to it. So for years and years, the whole time we've had this house, 15, 16 years, there was a toilet that sat there where that one is, and anyway, it had no water hooked up to it. So we installed this bathroom, and then when I came down here one day, I noticed that in the shower, the plumbing had started backing up into the shower. So that wasn't good, and I thought, okay, I have a normal clog. Call the plumber. The plumber's going to come out, and they're going to take care of the situation. They're going to unplug it, and we're going to be good to go. Well, that's not the way it turned out. We ended up with this first hole here. So there was a pipe in the ground, and that was rotten all the way through the length of the house. So you can see that's one end of the house, and we pan on over here. Come on over here, all the way to approximately where the floor drain is where that pipe ran to, just past the floor drain, which actually it looked like it was underneath this furnace here. The way that they, with the camera and stuff underneath the ground, it looked like it would have ran underneath that furnace. So basically what that comes down to is they would have had to bust up all the concrete, almost the whole length of the basement here. And as far as I understand, that would have gotten pretty pricey. They were giving me a quote of somewhere around, possibly, depending on the situation, it could be upwards of $5,000. So the other alternative was this, what they call sewage ejector. And so basically it's a glorified sump pump, but only for your plumbing. So this turned out to be, I don't have the bill yet, but I know by looking online that this particular model goes for about $1,000. And now they're giving me a quote, instead of $5,000, around $3,000. He thinks it might be a little bit less. We'll see what happens. But they had to do way less concrete work, as you can see. The length from where it needed to go, from where the pipe broke down here, well, it was rotten all the way through, but from where they noticed that there was a good break there, it's 30 feet over to where we showed you where that floor drain is. So anyway, like I said, this has got a 41 gallon capacity. I'm not sure if it evacuates all 41 gallons when the float kicks in, because it doesn't run for very long when the float kicks in, and it's really quiet. So hopefully I can get that on the video. And I know for some of you out there, you might see this orange cord that is tied into this outlet that's up here, which is past these radio controlled trucks. That's on its own 20 amp breaker, so we're giving it plenty of power. It's not being overloaded. The system isn't being overloaded with the power that it draws. even though it has that long extension cord on it. That's only temporarily. It's going to have its own source of power wired up to it, and we'll be good to go. So like I said, it's super quiet when it kicks in, and it has to go through, the way we have it set up, all these bends in here. You can see, so that this is the pipe that comes out to meet the rest of the plumbing in the house on the opposite side of the house. This pipe here is a vent pipe that goes right out the wall beyond my tools there. So you can see that it has a bunch of bends in it. You know, it goes quite a ways and drops down, curves around and all that, you know, so it's pretty extensive with how many bends it has to go through to do what it needs to do, where it meets this old cast iron pipe down here. So that's where the rest of the house came through. It came through to this side. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't know that the pipe was, you know, rotten, because only our sink upstairs, our kitchen sink, was draining into it for how many years. And I do believe it was rotted out most of the time. Anyway, one of the other reasons for having this installed rather than tearing up the concrete is that I wanted to have the pipes exposed should something like this ever happen again. You know, maybe we realize that they didn't get a connection tight or something like that down the road, you know, or whatever. Something happens where maybe they forgot to glue it and we get another clog or something and camera has to go back, whatever, you know, you get what I'm saying. Anything could happen. They could forget to glue it. We could get a clog. It could break, whatever. I didn't want to have to go through spending a possible another $5,000 to have the floor retore up after they put it back in, even if it was 10 years down the road. That seemed kind of senseless to me. So I really liked the idea of getting this done, and obviously it's not finished yet. They have to come back and, you know, fill in the holes here, and we have to get an actual dedicated outlet hooked up to it. But that made much more sense to me to have exposed plumbing, and I guess over the long run, you're talking many years because there's a cost because of the electricity, which is going to be very minor, because this hardly kicks in, because really we don't have a need for this bathroom on a regular basis until we start our upstairs bathroom, and then, you know, the occasional time that this bathroom is going to be used other than that is, you know, maybe a couple times a week that we're going to have somebody down here that needs to shower or do whatever they need to do. Other than that, you know, like I said, it's just basically sink water that's going into here. We don't have a dishwasher or anything like that. So it's just the sink that's basically going in here, you know, 75% of the time. So as far as the running cost of the electricity, that's going to be very small. So I don't even know how many years it would take for that to catch up to the cost of another couple $1,000s to tear up the floor and put a pipe in the floor. And the other thing is that this whole thing doesn't get filled in. It probably gets filled in, I guess, maybe up to the lip down here. I would assume the top part is going to be exposed, so should anything go wrong with the pump or the float or whatever, that can all be pulled apart and parts replaced in it. So that's eventually going to be another cost, you know, once that wears out. I know the plumber did say his parents have got one of these in their home, and it was 25 years before the pump burned out. And quite honestly, I don't think we're going to be living here in 25 years, but you never know. Not to say that I'm not worried about that cost, but at the end of the day, if I have to replace that pump once and you account for all the electricity, I'm still not going to get to another $2,000 for having my floor tore up and a pipe put under the floor. So, you know, maybe I can throw in a little update video about this sewage ejector. You know, maybe I can do a year update when it comes time and see how things are going. I have tried to overload the system actually, so hopefully my plumber's not watching. I did have both basins of the sink upstairs. I guess who knows? I'll turn the camera around here. Who knows? Maybe you guys would rather look at a hole in the floor than my face here. I don't. I don't know. Okay, so I did try and plug, or I did plug both basins in the sink upstairs for the kitchen sink, and I'm a dork like this. I had my wife on the phone, and I said, you know, okay, unplug the sink, and at the same time I flushed the toilet, and had the shower running. So I did try and overload the system, just to make sure that it's going to keep up with whatever we need, because there's going to be a time when there might be somebody down here taking a shower and we're upstairs washing dishes. Wow, I'm really zoomed in on my face, and that type of thing, where I felt like those two situations might meet, where it's a lot of water's coming down from the kitchen and the shower and all that. And I didn't have an issue, and I also wanted to check for leaks, because I feel like, you know, now's the time to make sure I don't have leaks. So, and that was good. I didn't hear any issues. The plumbing went down fine. Didn't have any issues in the sink upstairs. No gargling or none of that stuff. So it, you know, it works out, and it did kick in when we did that, and it didn't seem like we had any problems. It didn't run longer than normal or anything like that, and didn't sound like it was working hard. And the other thing that I should mention, I'm sorry I did forget, is I kind of talked about it in the beginning, is this model. It's called a grinder system. So it does actually grind up what goes in there. So the chance and the likelihood of actually getting a clog past the actual pump itself, and going through the pipe, is probably pretty minimal if it's grinding up the waste in there, your toilet paper and such. So I guess we don't have to be too worried about all the bends in the pipe, you know. But I guess if worse comes to worse and there is a problem, it's easy to cut the pipe apart and fix the problem and maybe reroute it or whatever, rather than tearing up the concrete. So that's a little bit of the video with the Simplex sewage grinder system. Maybe it's right for something for your next project. If you're putting a bathroom in the basement or whatever, it's something, I guess, maybe to consider. So there you have it, the sewage grinder. I guess, you know. Thanks for watching.